Is your practice tired of wrestling with insurance denials, deciphering EOBs, and watching your revenue slip through the cracks? You are not alone. Welcome to The Claim Game, the podcast designed to cut through the confusion and provide you with the best practices for revenue cycle management success. We are Jeremy and Catherine Zug, and we've been with people just like you in the trenches. Each week, we'll break down complex billing processes, share real-world solutions from practices like yours, and ask questions of the game makers and changers of healthcare so you can take control of your revenue. Let's turn those claim denials into deposits and help you return to focusing on patient care. It's time to win the claim game.
Hi there, and welcome back to The Claim Game. I'm Jeremy Zug, and I'm your host. And as a reminder, in this season of The Claim Game, we are going through the best practices in revenue cycle management, insurance billing, one domain at a time. And the last episode, we introduced aging follow-up. It's a really important domain, and each domain that we work through is critical. It's critical for your billing, your revenue, your profit, and each one plays an important role in making sure that you are able to achieve what you're seeking to achieve with your practice or with your clinic. So we're going to be zooming in on each one of these domains, and we're going to bring you the winning strategies that we see across the country and to navigate a really complicated black box type industry with confidence and ease. And we want you to have victory for your bottom line. Just a quick reminder, if you missed the initial setup of the domains of billing and want to understand the full scope of how each of these domains work together, be sure to check out episode 1 for the complete overview. And now we're going to focus our attention to the current territory, aging follow-up. And today we're going to zoom in on a time-consuming part of aging follow-up, and that's denial resolution. So let's get ready to strategize together and figure out what the optimal moves are for your private practice. Today you have me. Catherine is again off on maternity leave, and so you're stuck with me, I suppose. And we need to talk about the thing that makes fully grown adults cry in their cars on their lunch break, and that's denial resolution. And I know that sounds melodramatic, but denial resolution really can make you feel stuck and lost. And I think it's really important that we get honest about why that crushes a lot of folks' confidence. You've done the work as a provider, as a clinician. Let's say you're doing your own billing. You've looked over the claim. You've double checked the patient's birthday because apparently people forgot that they were born all the time. You send the claim off to Ether, you wait, and then boom, you get a denial. Or maybe you're in a bigger group practice or an agency or a larger clinic, and you're dealing with not just a denial, you're dealing with tens of denials, hundreds of denials. And in some cases, some of you are dealing with thousands of denials. And that can feel as if you are getting crushed under a giant boulder or something you can't get out of. And this is a special kind of rejection, is it not? It's not like asking someone out on a date and they say no. That hurts and you get over it. But a denial is like asking someone on a date, them saying, yes, you go to dinner, you pay for dinner, and they look at you and say, I'm not reimbursing you for the steak because you didn't get prior authorization for the appetizer. It's insulting, and it can feel like a recipe for burnout. So, you've done the hard work. You've pulled your aging report. You have all the buckets. You can also make phone calls to provider representatives, which can feel like its own unique form of purgatory, I suppose. And you can get responses like the claim wasn't lost, it wasn't processing, it's just denied. And this is a moment where a lot of people feel their stomach drop, and partly because they've done a lot of work, they want to do a good job, they want to serve their patients really well, but also because the dollar amounts on some of your claims and some of the aging reports you're looking at are really, really big, and people translate the money piece into real life, and it can feel like a final judgment. And it can feel like the insurance company's just slammed a door in your face and locked it. But today I want to reframe this whole conversation, because if you take this personally and you catastrophize in some way, you're going to burn out. And a denial isn't a no. I want you to really lean into the name of our podcast here. Denial is a game. It's a tactic. It's a request for more information or a correction. This is a puzzle. You have a piece out of the puzzle that's wrong, and it can be solved usually by realizing the person on the other end of the transaction is a computer algorithm designed to operate according to rules that you may not be familiar with, but it's not designed necessarily to crush you. And so if we reframe this as a game, if we reframe it in your mind as information, as a puzzle with logical next steps, I think you'll be able to approach denials and your aging with a renewed sense of energy, with direction, and with real strategy. So if aging follow-up is the investigation, denial resolution is the courtroom drama. It's where you build your case, you present your evidence, and potentially overturn the verdict. And today I'm going to walk you through the nitty-gritty of what billing and revenue cycle management is really all about. We are going to talk about how to decode a denial, how to decide between fixing it or fighting it, and how to write an appeal that actually wins without losing your mind. So let's start with the most critical distinction in this entire process. And I see practices confuse these two terms up constantly. And it's the difference between a rejection and a denial. I hear clinicians and even billers sometimes, we hear them use these terms interchangeably, but these are completely different animals. And if you treat them the same way, you're going to get a very confusing outcome. So let me give you an analogy. So imagine you're trying to get into an exclusive membership or an exclusive club. A rejection happens before the insurance company even accepts the claim into their system. It's usually something that we call a dirty claim. This is like a bouncer at the front door or just a locked door. He looks at your ID, he sees that it's expired, or you're wearing cargo pants or something. I don't know. I don't go to a lot of those clubs, but that would get you not entrance into the building, right? You never made it inside, or maybe you transposed two numbers in the patient's ID, or maybe the date of birth was wrong. It happens all the time. And so the electronic gatekeeper called a clearinghouse stopped you at the door. And the fix for these are easy. And so if you're letting revenue leak out of the practice because of rejections, that's too easy of a fix to allow. So you fix the typo and you resubmit the claim. A denial is intrinsically different. Denial means means the bouncer let you in to the club. You walk through the door, you went to the bar, you ordered a drink maybe, and then the bartender told you that they don't serve people with your haircut. The insurance company opened the door, let the claim in, reviewed it, processed it, and then decided not to pay it. And you cannot just hit resubmit on a denial. We see practices do this. They see a denial and think, well, maybe if I send it again, the computer, the algorithm, the clearinghouse, the payer will change its mind. But here's the thing. It's a computer. It's an algorithm. It doesn't have moods. It doesn't change its mind. It operates on a predetermined set of rules. So if you just resubmit a denied claim without changing anything, the computer is going to flag it as a duplicate claim and deny it again instantly. And now you've entered something of a doom loop. You have two denials, one because you resubmitted the old claim without changing anything, and you have the original denial you need to fix. And duplicate claim is actually the number one denial reason for all healthcare providers. And they are really, really hard to fix. And I'll tell you why, because let's say you have 3 or 4 duplicate claim denials. You don't fix those. You fix the original denial, but that could have been months ago when you first submitted your original claim. And so it is really important. And this is why we advocate for payment posting first, then aging follow-up, and then claim submission. But we'll get there in a little bit. So step 1, we need to figure out if you got stopped by the bouncer or the bartender, right? If you got stopped by the bouncer, it's a claim rejection, much, much easier to fix. Or the bartender, which is a denial, which is what we're here to fix. So let's say you're past the bouncer, you're dealing with the bartender, you have a denial. So step 2 in this process is you realize you have an original denial sitting in front of you. Step 2 is identifying the reason code. And on every explanation of benefits, there are codes. Usually they are CARC codes, which is a claim adjustment reason code, ARC code. These codes were clearly written by people who don't like human interaction. They're clues, but they're really terrible clues. They might say things like a CARC code is CO-16, which is just claim lacks information. Okay, what information? What does it say? It just says it lacks information. That's like, I don't know, somebody coming home, slamming the door, and when you ask what's wrong, they say, if you don't know, I'm not telling you. So it's like we have to play detective a little bit. So then you have to check the remarks section. Did you forget the NDC code? And, honestly, just call them, right? I know calling is torture, but ask the rep, what specific box is empty? Make them say it. Or you could get another code that we see a lot of time is CO-29, which is time limit for filing has expired, timely filing limit, right? This means that the initial claim was sent too slow. The clock ran out. If you get this code, there's not much you can do. That one is just a matter of the claim sat for too long in an EHR. It passed 90 days, 60 days, 120 days. And unless you have proof that you sent this claim in before that timely filing limit expired, that money is really, really gone. And I don't want you to have to lose money because of that one. So claim submission is important when we get there. Another CARC code, right, is PR-1, which is a deductible amount. This is not a denial, actually. This is the insurance company saying, we approve this, but we're not paying for it because your patient has a deductible they need to meet. So go ask them for the money. That's not a denial you fix. You send a bill to the patient and then you collect from your patient. This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR built to support you in the day-to-day work of running your practice. If you're a health or wellness practitioner, you already know the care you provide starts well before your client arrives and extends far beyond the treatment room. Jane is there to support you in every part of that experience. With online booking, your clients can book at a time that works for them. And with features like notifications, they'll even be able to grab last-minute openings when they pop up. It's an easy way to keep your schedule full while getting your clients the care they need. During your appointment, Jane's AI-powered documentation feature can help you thoughtfully take notes so you can stay present with the person in front of you. And after appointments, you can end your time together on a healing note, not a transactional one, by charging the card on file. To learn more about how Jane can support you and your clients, head to jane.app/demo. And one last thing, if you're ready to get started with Jane, you can use my code in the show notes for a 1-month grace period on your new account. So once you know the why, you have to decide on the how. And basically, you have two paths forward: correction or appeal. So path number one, if you're going to fix a denial, right? This is a resubmission, and this is for when you made a mistake. Maybe you used the wrong CPT code. Maybe you forgot a modifier. Now remember earlier I said don't just resubmit. And here's what you do instead. You have to use something of a secret handshake. On a CMS 1500 form or in your electronic billing software, there's a box, and box 22. And nobody looks at box 22. It's like the flyover state of a claim form, but it's one of the most important boxes for getting paid in a denial. You have to change the resubmission code or frequency code to 7, not 1, not 8, 7. Code 7 tells the insurance computer, hey, I know you denied this before. I was wrong. This is a replacement for the previous claim. And then, and don't forget this part, you have to put the original claim number right next to it. And if you don't link this claim, the new claim, to the original claim, the computer assumes that this is a new submission and it denies it as a duplicate, right? It's like it's a game of Mother May I, right? Path 2, if it's not a resubmission, it's an appeal. So this is for when an insurance company made a mistake. You billed it right. You have the authorization code. The patient was eligible, but they denied it for medical necessity or no authorization on file. And this is where you have to write a letter. And I want to be really clear about something. Appeals are like a fifth line of defense. They are time consuming and slow, and you only appeal when you have proof that you're right and they are wrong. So what goes into winning an appeal? I've seen appeals that go absolutely nowhere and they don't lead to the result that you want. And I've seen people write 3-page letters, single spaced, putting a lot of time and energy about a patient's condition and how unfair the system is. And let me tell you, folks at the insurance company don't want to read that, right? And I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's just, imagine the person reviewing your appeal is named Gary, for example, and Gary sits in a cubicle. Gary has to review 400 appeals a day. So if Gary sees a 3-page letter, it's going to make that process really hard. You want to write appeals so that the person on the other end of that appeal is burning as few calories as possible to process your appeal. And here's how you write an appeal letter that Gary will actually stamp approved on. First, you have to get the narrative right. A clear, concise letter, right? For example, I submitted this claim. You denied this claim. Here's proof of why you made a mistake, right? You have to get that arc precisely right. Then you have to present the evidence. You have to attach the EOB. You have to attach the medical record. Here's a good rule of thumb. Get a highlighter. Highlight the specific sentence that proves your case, right? Do you think Gary's going to read 20 pages of doctor's notes to find one sentence? No. Draw an arrow, highlight it, make it really low calorie to process. And then finally, and this is the big one, persistence. If the claim is big, like thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, send a certified letter, right? Make them sign for it, because that way you have proof that got it and they can't lie to you about it. And even if they say we never got it and you can see who signed for it, right? You can present that as evidence that you did indeed send an appeal, right? So I want to leave you with a quick thought on mindset, and then I want to talk through a real life story about denials gone well. Denial resolution is really where money is made in revenue cycle management. This is where your biller becomes worth their weight in gold. Anyone can get paid on a clean claim that flies through the system. Seriously, it's really easy to do. A monkey could do that. But a practice that thrives is the one that has a process for, let's say, the 10 or 15% of claims that get stuck in the mud. Because here's a little dirty trick about this industry. Insurance companies know that if they deny a claim, 1% of those denials will get appealed. And that means the other 99% of the claims don't get appealed, and they go beyond a timely filing limit for filing an appeal, and those claims don't get paid out. So if you're a high volume practice, or you're an agency, or even if you're a solo independent provider setting up a shingle in your town, it's really important that you have a process for these claims, because it's going to happen. It is part and parcel, part of the claim game. Yeah. And they get stuck. And I don't want you to let denials pile up. I know it's easy to ignore them. I know it's easy to shred them. I know it's easy to get stressed about them. But that stack of paper in your office is a paycheck. And tackling them one by one, decoding the message, fixing the error, using box 22, and stating your case to Gary in the cubicle is really where you're going to see some meaningful traction in your billing department. Okay, quick real life case study for a practice that we worked with that saw some really good results. So we had a practice come to us. The biller had turned over, and they realized really quickly that denials had piled up for a long time, and the aging was well over $900,000 of claims that were just sitting on that pile, right? And $900,000 worth of claims is a lot, right? That's like a pallet of cash that showed up at your door and is just not getting processed. And by the way, this is not a fast process. This is a slow, laborious, disciplined behavior type fix that you're not going to see the result of over a week or even a quarter. So over a year, our team assigned 3 billers to this particular account, and lowered the aging from $900,000 to $150,000 and got their aging below 60 days. And that kind of result is not uncommon. When you apply the right process, the right orientation to a mess, you can work your way out of it slowly and surely. Now, it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of grit. But denial resolution, again, is really where the value in having an academic and forensic process ends up paying off. So today we talked about denial resolution. So we have a few tools for you today. We have a denial resolution guide that will walk you through how to resolve a denial. And don't forget your claim management spreadsheet. We've mentioned that on several episodes now of the podcast. I cannot highlight this tool enough. The claim management spreadsheet is a cornerstone of your billing department. And we also have an appeals packet for you. All of those are found on the Hourglass Learning Hub. We built these templates for you, so you don't have to start from scratch. It stinks starting from scratch. And they're available, again, through the Hourglass Learning Hub. You can check out the link in the show notes. Next time on The Claim Game, we'll be discussing patient aging management, collecting money from actual human beings. The old adage is, I forgot my wallet in the car. I didn't know I had a copay. We will talk about how to deal with those next time. I'm Jeremy Zug. Stop hitting the resubmit button, and let's get some traction on those old claims. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on The Claim Game. If you enjoyed today's episode of The Claim Game, please take a moment to leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really helps new listeners to find us. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to The Claim Game on your favorite podcast app. Your feedback means so much to us. We want to provide valuable education about revenue cycle management. So if there's something we didn't cover in our topic that was a burning question for you, please let us know so we can try to get you the information you desire. You can find the links to all resources we mentioned in this episode in the show notes. And if you want to dive deeper into our resources, we have two places you can do that. First, you can go to our blog at practicesol.com/blog, where we have 8 years of educational blogs. If you want to learn more about what Practice Solutions does, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Just go to practicesol.com to learn more and to connect with one of our awesome people on our team. Thanks for listening. We are Jeremy and Catherine Zug, and this is The Claim Game. See you at the game table next time.